Algo se llama también molde.
So before you start the tour, they give you a free cocktail. And this one's excellent. They're using an acerola syrup that they make, and then dehydrated orange and burnt cinnamon.
Now the rum being made prior to our founder, which I'll show you in a second, was moonshine. Now, harsh white alcohol to get you drunk. Wasn't until the third generation of the Fernandez family to actually really wanted to refine the process to make a rum and have a more of a gentleman style drink. The guy up here in the left picture with a beard, that's our founder. His name is Pedro Fernandez. He started the company officially in 1880. But in 1860, that's really his journey began. In 1860, he goes to France to study to become an engineer. While he was there, he falls in love with cognacs and wants to make cognac in Puerto Rico. Fortunately, in Puerto Rico, we cannot make cognac because we don't have the grapes that we need to make it, and we're not in France. So he learns all the techniques how to make it and adapts those techniques to make rum once he comes back. Now, once he comes back in 1870, he brings a copper pot still back with him. A copper pot still that was designed for cognacs, but he just implemented it for rums. So once he comes back, he starts working here in Bayamon as an engineer, but as a hobby, he uses the cognac techniques to distill his rum, and whenever he would make a batch of it, he would store them in very small barrels to age. Whenever friends would come to the house, he would grab his barrel and greet everybody with a glass of rum. Welcome, enjoy. Years of trial and error, people started coming back here looking for it. They would say, hey Pedro, excuse me, got some more rum from that small barrel you have, I really enjoy it. So he got tired of hearing it, and he started selling it. He wanted a name for a company that everybody in Bayamon was asking for. The name is Rum from a Small Barrel, or Ron Del Barrilito. That one time was a windmill, basically using it as a food grinder. Put the sugarcane in, ground it up. Now, very important to know that we do not ferment and distill a rum on site. We do this off-site, create our white rum here. We've been doing this since the 50s, so it's something new for us. Now, once we get our white rum in, it's processed in all these tanks. Now, this is a technique called maceration. This is a technique that Pedro learned in France studying cognacs. What we're doing is infusing our white base rum with up to 24 different dried fruits and spices. Each set of tanks in here will have its own fruits and spice mixture. So they're not all the same. They'll be macerating for up to 6 months, between 4 to 6 months. After that, we'll start using this tank in the center. The tank in the center we call the marriage tank, where we're marrying 3 different ingredients to form our base that will eventually go into the barrels. The first ingredient we have in here is white rum. After the white rum, we'll add in our water. Now, this is where we heavily dilute our rum. Now, the water we use is only sourced in Bayamon. They have a very famous saying that in Bayamon, it rains every day. We collect rainwater, filter it, purify it, and use purified rainwater for the production of our rum. The last ingredient we add in here is the maceration. Now we'll take different proportions of all these tanks and blend it here. Now, as long as the maceration does not exceed 2.5% of the total volume of white rum, we're good. If it exceeds that percentage, it'll be classified as a specialty rum. Spiced rum, flavored rum, which we do not produce. So 1 to 2 weeks later, the marriage is now over. It's a quick 2-week marriage. But you're not divorced yet. The honeymoon starts now. They have to visit the warehouses where the barrels get filled up. The aging process begins, and we'll develop flavors for 3 to 10 years for our core rums, for up to 35 years for our luxury rums. Well, all the rums started from the same base out of this thing right here. So you can say that all of our rum is the same. The only difference is age. Now, if you're curious what fruits and spices we use, I don't know. That's above my pay grade, so I do not know what's in these tanks. Now, all the barrels have rum in them. Are they full? They're not. Now, before I talk about that, the wood we use for our barrels is American white oak. But they're not ex-bourbon barrels. They're ex-whiskey barrels from Spain, used for sherry wines. They're used for sherry wines for approximately 10 years. We buy them, age our rums. So since we wanted to make a cognac, these wine barrels help us achieve similarities to a cognac. Now, once our barrels come in, filled up, aging begins. Now, we do lose due to evaporation on a yearly basis. We'll lose about 6% of every barrel every year. The famous angel share. Our aging is a tropical aging. It's hot. Whatever the temperature is outside, that's what we have inside. Now, once the barrels are filled up, aging begins, and we don't know when we're gonna use these barrels until the master blender says we're gonna use them. And what he'll do is, let's say we're making a 3-star rum, he'll come with his team and identify about 25 barrels to use for that 3-star. He'll start drawing samples from these barrels, looking for the profile, the aroma, the color, and the flavor. If everything matches what we wanna make, we'll pull the rum, blend it, off to bottling. Because, since it is tropical aging, the development of the rum changes depending on the location and the aging warehouse you're in. So if I'm looking for this barrel right here, it's a 2004, on the second shelf, looking for the exact same date on the far rack over, won't be the same. Why? Because it's hotter over there, or different temperature over there than it is over here. So for that fact alone, I can't go by just the years without actually tasting it. So here, just because the years are met, doesn't mean they're ready. This was made by Edmundo Fernandez. Edmundo was our second master blender off the side. And so when Puerto Rico becomes independent from the US, we're gonna take these 8 barrels to the town square up by Amon and celebrate for independence, which never happens. Because in 52, that was here basically became a commonwealth of the US, and his dream started to evaporate little by little. Now, out of the 8 original barrels, this is actually the consolidation of all 8. This barrel is not to be used until a major event happens in Puerto Rican history, which could be independence in the future, could be statehood, it could be lowering our 11.5% sales tax.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is.
I'm on board for that one.
Right?
We do have other barrels in here from the early 60s and all the way forward. So
The barrel might be
some barrels do
very
age very well. Other barrels will not age that well, so it depends on location. At least this warehouse holds a lot of the oldest barrels that we do have. On the far side over, the bottom level, we have a lot of barrels from our 60s, early 70s. Even right here, I got 74, 79, all right next to you. And I see 80 barrels, 90 barrels over here, 92s. So we do have a lot of extremely old rum here.
Do you sell any bottles that are from a single barrel, or are they always blended?
That's a good question. Yes and no. We don't sell a bottle, we'll sell a barrel.
Oh, wow.
So if you wanted to buy a barrel, single barrel, I'll sell you a single barrel. Age rate, price ranges, it could be on low end, 150,000, high end, 500,000.
What was the last year that you made it from sugarcane grown in Puerto Rico rather than Dominican Republic?
Probably the 1950s.
Okay, so none of that's around.
No. Initially, when I first take that first taste of it, you'll notice it has a lot of cinnamon coming out, a little nutmeg coming through. I'll get lots of like brown sugar sweetness, caramel. I'll get a lot of almost dates again coming through, raisins coming out of there. And the finish just lingers and fades away nice and easy. So this is something that it's very complex, and you're not going to stay with the same flavor profile the entire drink. It will evolve and it will change as you keep drinking it, or glass after glass of it. It goes down nice and easy. Again, this is a very, very pleasant rum to